moguls. It's me, Marshall Silver, your personal millionaire maker. Getting very excited about my brand new show, 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm going to broadcast live to you. In the first hour of the broadcast, I'm going to give you content, information for better sex, more money, emotional, mental, physical, and even spiritual power. I'll also invite some of my cool multi-millionaire and billionaire friends onto the show to give you more direction, more advice, more strategies and gambits for having it all. The second hour is what I'm most excited about. It's when I get a chance to chat with you. Yes, you. Where you can call in, talk to me, ask me questions. And if you say the secret word of the day, you could win $5,000 cash. At the very least, if you're the most interesting call of the day, you could also win 10 ounces of freshly minted Marshall Silver 999 Fine Silver. All of that and more. Brand new Mercedes-Benz sedan or SUV up for grabs. My personal Rolls-Royce Phantom up for grabs. All the knowledge to get everything you want and so much more. All you got to do is log in to the show to get information about its release coming up. 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, coming to you live from the bunker right here at Studio Money. I'm Marshall Silver, your personal millionaire maker.
Let me bring in our hypnotist, Marshall Silver.
It's Marshall Silver, ladies and gentlemen, the world's fastest hypnotist.
Oh, yeah, we are live. It's Marshall Silver. You're loved. If nobody told you yet today, you are totally loved. You're an amazing human being. And my world is definitely a better place because you're here. As you know, we are live. We're not pre-recorded. Anything can happen and often does. If you want to call in and chat with myself or anybody on the show, details scroll across the bottom of the screen while we're chatting. And love to have you be a part of the show. You can also always put a comment in the comments, and we will read it and potentially ask our guest that question. Today's guest is unique in the fact that he's the first person of this kind we've had on the show whose power is helping people take their companies to the next level, without a doubt. Stuart Draper is the co-author of Digital Marketing Essentials, the best-selling text in higher education of its kind. The experience he's had doing digital marketing for companies has helped him help people with mom and pop shops all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. He's currently the founder and CEO of Stukent.com, a digital courseware company that's helped over 850,000 educators and students by providing dozens of internships, or simternships, as he likes to call them, simulated internships, courseware, videos, and projects to schools that range from Ivy League to technical and community colleges. Stukent is a 5-time Inc. 5000 honoree in Inc. magazine. In 2018, Stukent became the 268th fastest growing company in the U.S. Stuart's work has taken him all over the globe to speak to audiences ranging from 10 to north of 1,500 people about entrepreneurship and digital marketing. With a nice, big Marshall Silver Live, welcome in the chat. Please welcome Stuart Draper. Welcome home.
Hey, Marshall, thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure to be here today with you.
We chatted briefly right before you came on. You're up in Idaho.
Yeah, Idaho Falls.
And so I didn't ask you when we were chatting, how did you end up in Idaho? Are you a native or?
My parents are high school sweethearts from Idaho, so I grew up coming to Idaho to visit Grandma and Grandpa as a kid, and ended up coming out here to college at BYU, Idaho, and then I've stayed ever since. So now I'm 40, been 20 years in Idaho, 20 years I grew up in Washington State.
Very cool. Russell Brunson, of course, is up there somewhere in your neck of the woods.
Russell is in Idaho as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like anytime you meet somebody from any state other than California or New York, and somebody else is from there. Oh, do you know so-and-so? Like it's a small town with 5 people.
That's right, yeah.
So at any rate, couple things. Tell us about your history. You've done a lot of things. You are obviously 9-time Inc. 5000 honoree. Tell us what that means and how you did that.
So Inc. magazine puts out a list every year of the fastest growing companies in the USA. And there's what's called the Inc. 500 list, which is the top 500. Those get printed and in the print magazine. And then they also recognize the following 4,500 in their annual conference that they hold, and you can be invited to if you make the Inc. 5000 list. Our first year, we were number 268 on the list. That's the highest we got, 268. And it's based on your percentage growth over a 3-year window of time. And every year that you stay on the list, it gets harder and harder to stay higher and higher on the list, because as you grow, the percentage of growth gets smaller over time, right? 10% growth on $1 billion business is $100 million of growth, right? And so, my first business that I started out of college was called getfoundfirst.com. That I sold in 2015. It's been on the Inc. 5000 list a total of 3 times. And then Stukent, that I started after I started Get Found First, has now been on the list a total of 6 times. So that bio you read about me is a little outdated. We've now supported over 1 million students with Stukent. I stepped down as CEO of Stukent in February of this year. So it's been a journey. I'm now on the board and supporting a new CEO of the business I founded a decade ago. And that's been a wild ride and an experience for me.
That is wild. I always wonder with people with your experiences, what prompts you to get into a particular type of business? So Get Found First, what is the product they sell?
Yeah, Get Found First is a Google Premier partner. So they do Google ads, Facebook ads, and search engine optimization and things like that. And
so Stukent is very different though.
Yeah, Stukent's in the education space. The tie is that while I was running Get Found First, my former professor said, "Hey, will you come back and teach digital marketing at the university?" And I thought, that'd be fun. And I kind of have the freedom and time. I'll go teach. And when I was teaching the students, I was banging my head against the wall with the curriculum and finding myself going, there's got to be a better way to teach this to the students. And so rather than go and find what else was out there, we created our own curriculum and made it so we could update it annually. Universities don't update, and traditional publishers, they update textbooks like every 3 or 4 years. The industry moves way too fast for that, Marshall, as you know, right?
Well, knowledge has moved way too fast.
Absolutely. And so we were trying to solve for that, and ended up in the process learning that we could build simulations that made it more of a hands-on learning experience instead of just a reading experience. And we now call those, as you mentioned earlier in my bio, simternships. And those have been a real game changer in the industry and what's allowed us to grow so rapidly.
So tell me about a simternship, because that's fascinating. Is it like an internship done remotely?
That's right. It's like an internship done remotely and with fake money and a fake business or a simulated business, right? So it's kind of video game like. Students love it because they get to test and try things without having to get fired from their internship because they mess up. They get to do this in a simulated, safe environment and test and try different things, see what works, and then use that as they later go into real internships before they graduate.
So the simternships, are they video games or what is that?
Yeah, it's similar to a video game, except with a lot less video graphics, because it's more like you're in spreadsheets. We actually, one of our simulations is a digital marketing simulator that simulates the Google ad platform, and they get to test and try different keywords and bid placements for those keywords. We have another simulation around analytics and social media, PR, and so students get to test and try different things as if they were in platform in a real job, entry level, trying things out.
And who funds this? Is it paid for by the schools, public schools, or
yeah,
what's
in
the
the high
model?
school level, the schools districts pay for the students to have an all access pass. At the higher ed level, the professor says, hey, rather than go to the bookstore, you're going to go to Stukent.com. You'll buy your textbook there and get your license to the simulator there as well. So they just come direct to us. Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the Stukent sales competition.
Yeah, Stukent runs a sales competition where we give scholarship money to the winners, and we throw that out there as a way to, it gets professors excited and gets them coming back. So as an entrepreneur, you want to always find ways to get customers that pay you once to keep paying you, right? So the beauty of the higher education space, you get a professor, you keep them happy, they keep sending you a new batch of students semester after semester, right? And with the sales competition, professors want their students to win and perform well, and the students love it because they get to say, hey, we beat Harvard or something like that, right? And so they're anxious and excited to continue. And then professors are like, oh, I want to keep using the simulation in class because it better prepares my students to perform well in the sales competition, right? And so it creates a lot of stickiness in our business, and we see very low churn in our business.
So when they submit a video pitch to this contest, is it for Stukent or is it for anything they want to be pitching?
Yeah, we usually have a different business they're pitching every year in the competition, so that it keeps it interesting and exciting and a new challenge, so that a junior that did it last year doesn't have an advantage over the sophomore trying this year, right?
Got it. So they're all writing a pitch for the same business or product.
Yeah, exactly. So that makes it a level playing field.
Yeah, that makes sense.
To compare performance. Mm-hmm.
That's very cool. I like it. I have a special place in my heart for educating, especially young people, teens and just preteens in entrepreneurship and running their own businesses. I look back in my life and I have 10 siblings and we were dirt poor growing up. And
Wow.
So I was forced to figure out how to make money just to eat. And if I wanted to do anything on my own, if I wanted anything out of the ordinary, I had to buy it myself. And so it forced me to be an entrepreneur and started working full time at 10 years old. I just think it's good. I think it's healthy for people. And so we have something that we're launching right now called the Young Entrepreneur Society. And it is a curriculum for kids just to learn about entrepreneurship. But this is for kids, generally speaking, from 7, 8 years old all the way up to 18. So I love this.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I would love to talk more about that offline with you later, have some ideas of how we could maybe work together. But yeah, that is a fun play on the word yes too, isn't it? With your acronym there, because Young Entrepreneur Society, YES. I love it.
Yeah, you noticed. So by the way, who's that beautiful woman over your left shoulder?
That is why I'm successful. That picture.
No, you got to turn the other way, dude. She's on the other side.
Successful, yeah. Lindsay is, I think she's the one. When I talked her into marrying me, I decided I'm good at sales. If I could talk her into it.
That's what I was thinking, man.
And then I think what I love so much about having her in an entrepreneurship podcast and getting to talk about her is she has supported me and believed in me all along. And there are days where it's hard to continue to believe in yourself along that journey of entrepreneurship. Yep. And having a life partner that's going to support you and cheer you on and not give up on you and tell you to quit when things are hard is so critical for your success, in my opinion. And so love Lindsay, so grateful for her. She's the mom of our 4 beautiful children that now range in age from 17 down to 5.
You have 4 beautiful kids?
4 kids, yeah, 2 boys, 2 girls.
How many ugly ones?
I don't talk about them. No, just
exactly. I get it. But I want to touch on that. I love a man that loves his wife. I think that's a really good sign of character. And I like a man that speaks highly of his wife. I think that that's a good sign of how they're going to talk about you behind your back. And my wife is the best decision I ever made in my entire life. I was married twice before I met my one true wife. And again, she's perfect. But Napoleon Hill talks about it in Think and Grow Rich. And I don't know if you saw that. He talks about, be basically what the Bible calls unevenly yoked. When you are with a partner you're not suited for. And he talks about it both in business and in life. And I will wholeheartedly agree that if you're with somebody that is right for you, everything's possible, everything's easier, everything's more joyful, everything's more fun. And if you're with somebody not suited for you, everything's impossible. Everything is hell. And
Yeah.
it's I just look at because again, I've had the experience of not having a good person. So for me at least, I know what it feels like to put so much energy into dumb things every single day just to survive, that it's just so easy to be with somebody that's kind and smart and our partners and, has our back and is watching out for us and thinking about us on a regular basis. So I just, I love it.
100%.
How did the two of you meet, by the way?
BYU, Idaho. We met at college. She was in a neighboring apartment complex, and I saw her walking by every day. So.
Well, you're Mormon then.
Yes.
Got it. And you only have 4 kids. I don't believe you. Anyway.
I'm number 6 of 8, Marshall.
Exactly.
So.
I get it, man. So, you are obviously doing a brand new podcast called Startups with Stu. The one reason I was asking about, you kind of have random business types. Me, I've been on stage my whole life, so everything I've ever done has something to do with presentations or performing or being in front of people. I always wonder, how does somebody get into trash collection? Or how does somebody get into the video rental business in the day? How does somebody get into, those kind of offshoots that you've gotten into? What do you look for when you say, hey, I'm going to start a business around this? Do you keep having an irritation that you have a need that's not fulfilled? Or do you see a lot of other people that aren't getting fulfilled? What is that?
I think life brings you new opportunities. And if you're smart, you are in a place to jump on the opportunities, the right opportunities, when they arise. So for me, I was selling Google Ads to property and property management software to hotel owners when I got out of college. Well, this was 2008, and the business ran out of funding. They pulled all of us in a room right at Christmas time and said, "You're all laid off, go home." And luckily, at the same time, because I was selling Google Ads, I was trying to do Google Ads for my brother-in-law that's a dentist. He had 3 record-breaking months of new patients, and I was off to the races as an expert in digital marketing because it was still so new in 2008. And I was an expert at a very young age, fresh out of college. But that's how Get Found First was born. Well, when I'm doing Get Found First, then it leads to this opportunity to go teach at my alma mater. And when I'm teaching, I realize, oh gosh, there's a bigger opportunity to create a product that helps other professors of other universities. That then leads to a big successful exit for me from the day-to-day operations at Stukent, and it gave me a lot of cash. That cash led to an opportunity to invest in other startups. And one of the startups that I have invested in, I'm really excited about, is called podup.com. And Podup is a podcasting technology software company. And, like I said, I have a 5-year-old at home. I could retire. That's a very bad idea and unhealthy for someone at 40 years old, I think. And so I'm spending less time. I'm working 3 days a week and working as the CMO for this podcasting technology company. And in the process, I was like, hey, I could use this technology that still needs work. It's not perfect yet. We're a work in progress. I'm going to go and be one of the guinea pigs with Startups with Stu and grow this thing. And so I've got 4 episodes recorded. I'm excited to launch this summer with a full first season of episodes. Not going live like you. I think it's brave and awesome what you're doing. My approach is a little unique and different in that regard. But yeah, that's how I landed from a young kid, grew up in Washington State, to owner of a few different successful businesses and now a podcaster.
So tell me about Podup. Tell me, what does it's software? What does it do?
Mm-hmm.
And the second question I have is, you said you're going to approach your podcast from a unique point of view. I love that. I love marketing. I love communication. So first thing I want to know about, what is Podup?
So Podup is an all-in-one solution for podcasters that want to do podcasting as a venture. They're looking for something that actually can generate revenue for them, whether that be through their business and leads for their business, or selling merch or product, or just gaining sponsors because you have a big following of listeners. But it's your website, it's your recording studio, it's your editing studio to take care of all the video creation. If you want to do it yourself, you can also then sell ad space on your podcast and do a myriad of other things, including creating AI generated video clips, which is, by the way, a new technology. Marshall, that's how we connected, was you had reached out about PodUp. And this technology is so new that it may not be something you've even gotten to see yet. I'm excited to show you.
No, we haven't. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, and it'll make it so that instead of 1 or 2 clips as possible for us, we can go and do 20 different clips from one episode. And I'm excited to have that launch. There's a lot of new things that we're doing in the podcasting space that isn't done by the other podcasting technologies. The one I'm most excited about is analytics. So we now are able to pull in your downloads and listens from a variety of different sources, except Spotify. Dang it, we're having the hardest time getting them to let us into their API to pull in their data, probably because they see us as a bit of a competitor. But anyway, we're pulling all this data in, and I'm excited about something that's innovative, different, and unique. There's a lot of different podcasting technologies. No one's doing everything in one place. What I believe is that what Shopify did for the e-commerce world, that's what PodUp is going to do for the podcasting world.
When is the software coming online fully?
It is now live, and you can use it. The AI technologies are all still in beta, so they have their weaknesses. We have a pretty awesome support team that's willing and able to step in and help where it's weak. But that's a part of startup land, Marshall, that I have learned. You have to be willing to go and fail, and then learn quickly and adjust and improve and be there for your customers. If you fail and then you don't follow up with better for your customers, then your business is going to fail. But you have to be willing and able to say, it's not perfect, but it's better. It's better than what else is out in the market. We're going to launch.
Well, and every company, that's one of the most wise and sound pieces of advice any startup could have. I own the URL putoutcrap.com.
That's awesome.
I also own the URL putoutcrap2.0.com. Because that's what you're describing is, perfectionism paralyzes. And too many people, when they get ready to do something, doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a business or a fitness program or whatever, they go to do it. It doesn't go the way they want it to go. Maybe, they don't have the result physically they want to have in their health. Their business doesn't flourish right away. Their product isn't quite right. I don't want to put it in the marketplace, not quite right. Or the book's not quite finished. You got to put it out. You got to put out crap. You got to put it out and say, what does the marketplace tell me? Because you could be rehearsing, reviewing, and refining something that nobody wants to buy. And so you're waiting to make it perfect and nobody wants it. It'd be better for you to put it out as crap and then realize nobody's interested, dude. It was your thing. So I love that idea. So I think that has to be one of the core things for any startup is to put out crap. When I read the story about Nike and that Phil Knight had been making the original Nike tennis shoes on his waffle iron, which is where that iconic tread came from, but then he was selling them out of his trunk at the swap meet. And I believe, and I love this whole idea, everything begins. So I have an idea. I see a need in the marketplace. You saw a need for digital marketing education, and you presented it, and I love it. I just while we were talking went on the website of Stukent, and I love it. Good stuff, because I believe more is learned in pain than pleasure, but we'll sit in pleasure without realizing how long we sit in pleasure. So if you can make something fun, it's done. I don't like working out anymore. I admit it. I'm level 62. I'm not fond of going to the gym, but I love playing racquetball with my wife. It's not working out to me, although it's a phenomenal workout. It's having fun and socializing and playing with my wife, and I love that. I think that more people should figure out how to make their lives lived naturally produce the results that they're looking for. What's the biggest reason startups fail? Besides the obvious funding, but what else? Is it because they don't have a focus on sales, or maybe they're too focused on innovation? What do you think?
I think that the number one reason businesses fail is they don't help enough. So lawyers and doctors don't go out of business because they help people with something that they're willing to keep paying for over and over again as they need it, right? And the mission at Stukent was help educators, help students, help the world. And we had the mission, the word help in there 3 times, Marshall. if you find a way to truly help customers, they'll keep paying you for the help and you'll stay in business. Don't help them, you'll be out of business in no time. And so help, I think that's the key. If you help people, you'll find a way to succeed. You mentioned cash. Obviously, you have to, as a CEO, founder, always be covering your butt and having money on hand to survive and make payroll. That's got to always be at the front of your mind, how you're going to keep the lights on. But the best way to focus on keeping the lights on is ensure that your product truly does help people, that they really want your help and will pay you for help. And so go prove that and then focus on continuing to do that, and everything else takes care of itself.
I would agree with that. I would also believe that, especially now, I was chatting a couple days ago with somebody who owns a bunch of cinemas, movie houses, and the scamdemic, the lockdowns revealed a lot of things, and they changed a lot of things that people don't realize. Colleges will never go back to what they were. When the colleges realized that they could charge the same tuition remotely, that people could stay home and do it on their computer and free up the real estate, they went, holy cow, all that money now stays in our pocket rather than being spent on additional real estate to expand. What people don't know is that while the lockdowns were going on, anybody that could bought a bigger flat screen. Anybody that could bought a better recliner. And so now the movie experience at the movie theater isn't better than the one that you can have at your house overall. Sure, if they have an IMAX screen and Dolby sound and vibrating, woofers inside of the seats and scented oil that spritz in the air, yeah, that's a different experience. But that's not enough to make me battle all the other things. Having to watch the movie on someone else's clock, not being able to pause it when I have to pee, paying 10 times as much for food, all those things. I'd rather just stay home. I'd rather just watch the movie on my flat screen in my recliner with my family, with my bird perched on my shoulder, and with the kids there. So again, things change and people don't realize they change, and what we've got to do to quickly adapt. And so one of the conversations I was having with him is sometimes I think you got to get back down to the core of what we do. And what we do is people will always pay more for a better experience. Always. And so if you can figure out a way, because that's all the theaters are doing right now. They're putting bigger woofers under the seat. They're putting vibrators in the chair when the jet goes by. But there's only so much you can do to give a better experience if the better experience was able to be had somewhere else cheaper.
Absolutely. So I think that's a part of the focus on helping them is like, hey, you don't help me if I can get the same TV experience at home as I can in your theater. You help me when you give me something bigger and better, right? I like that.
Well, and I also think, don't you agree that even with your company, intellectual property, information companies, people that are giving knowledge, the challenge is every piece of knowledge we want is on the internet. There's no way around that. You can't deny that. Anybody that says that's not true is lying. So the question becomes, can I as a consumer find it? And if I find it, can I validate it? Is what I'm finding actually accurate and workable? Because there's so much BS. How do I sort through all of that? Right. So once again, if we're to sell anything, we got to keep coming back to the idea that if I want to have the best food in my city from the best restaurant in my city, I don't have to go there anymore. I have a house on the beach, and my view on my beach balcony is better than their view at their restaurant. So what I want is their food and my location. That's what I want. So because anybody can find anything they want online, anybody that's selling information-based products has to figure out what is the value-added experience, in my opinion, not what is the value-added offer. How do I, give them more? No, how do I give them a value-added experience that they say, wow, that was an experience. I like that.
That's fantastic. When we started Stukent, one of the things that people said was, hey, that Google has like a whole training that's free, and they give away free ad dollars for students for the Google Online Marketing Challenge. And did you know that Facebook, they have this blueprint thing that's inexpensive, and it's actually from Facebook. Like, that's got to be better than whatever training you're creating. And what we found was that the resources we were providing to the professor, that was what made them choose to make their students pay for our platform was we were providing the lesson plans, lecture slides, the quizzes and test banks. It was more than just Google or more than just Facebook. They were going to get all the other platforms simulated into one experience and the website and on demand by semester versus only when Google wants to run their program, right? So we found ways to do something bigger and better and different than what else was out there.
I think that's brilliant, because what you just did was made a digital product the course curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, rather than the professor saying, go get this textbook, he's saying, no, you need this software because all the lessons are digital and you need access to this portal. So I think it's brilliant for so many reasons. Number one, if I buy a textbook, as you said, technology and information is changing so rapidly, that textbook is obsolete next year. It's and probably obsolete by the time it got into my hands.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a digital piece of knowledge can be updated, can be upgraded, can be, things change. You get consumer feedback. I was a high school dropout. I dropped out of high school because my mother was killing herself working 3 jobs. And I said, I need to get a full-time job to provide for my family. I felt really bad about dropping out of high school in the beginning of my senior year. So I went back to junior college. And I'm doing my very best to be a good student. And I'm sitting in junior college in a marketing class. And in the meantime, I also quit high school because I was offered a very, very, very lucrative full-time job. Yeah. And so I took the full-time job, went into it. The full-time job was in retail sales. I was managing a group of stores at 17 years old. And I was making big bucks for the time. So at any rate, the job wraps up. I decide I want to go back to college. I'm sitting in a marketing class and they're teaching something that I know doesn't work, that it's outdated, doesn't work. I asked the professor, I said, I have been managing retail stores for the last 5 years. This doesn't work. And the teacher said, it's in the book. Of course it works. And that was my first inkling that the books can't keep up anymore. And that was a long time ago. Yeah. But they couldn't. Even then they couldn't keep up. Even before technology, they couldn't keep up. And so I think that, what you just did with Stukent, I think if you're not already thinking that way, and I'm sure you are because you're brilliant, is that the entire curriculum of any college, there shouldn't be a thing as a textbook anymore. There's no point. Everything should be on this device. Because not only can I have updated information, but I can also make all my notes without damaging anything, folding over pages, using a highlighter, and I can quickly assimilate, recall it's everything about it's better.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
Content experience that you can have. There's so many things that come.
Interaction.
Yeah, and what's funny is these publishers are billion-dollar companies. So I want to try to give my company and the people in my organization a better vision of what Stukent could become. I said, what Under Armour did to Nike and Adidas, that's what Stukent's going to do to Pearson and McGraw-Hill. Pearson and McGraw-Hill aren't going to die. Nike and Adidas didn't die because Under Armour took $5 billion of market share. But Nike and Adidas go and get better because Under Armour comes into the space and does something that's innovative. They added that sweat-soaked spandex T-shirt that we all love and hate at the same time, probably, right? But they found one innovation, and then they went and did everything else that Nike and Adidas already did. But the reason they could enter was because they had innovated something that didn't exist yet in the market first. They got raving fans on that product, and then those raving fans said, oh, I'll try Under Armour shoes now. I'll try Under Armour sweats now. Even though they probably already were a fan of Nike, used Nike, and were happy with Nike, all of a sudden they were willing to give them a try because Under Armour had innovated on something that no one else had before. So, I think there's, for us with Pearson, McGraw-Hill, those guys had a chance to go and do digital better. They were already doing digital books, but they still re-updated those books like every 3rd or 4th year. It was too little, too late. No one cared. And they didn't include that one feature of updating as a part of this digital experience. It was all about you won't have to carry books and your back won't hurt. That was their message with digital. And it was no, the real value of digital is the video content you're going to be able to produce and new up-to-date content faster. So that was a big innovation for us and a real reason for us to win. I think a key lesson an entrepreneur can learn from this is that contracts matter. The contracts that Pearson and McGraw-Hill have with their authors said, we'll let you update every third or fourth year. And our contract says you're going to update your book that we publish for you every single year. And it's a promise you make with us when you become an author for us. So even though they had the digital content, they could do updates if physically it was possible.
But they were not available.
The authors weren't contractually obligated to do so.
I like it.
Ours were, so that was huge.
No, that is huge. I'm reminded of Polaroid, and I think that there's a certain amount of ego involved. Polaroid film, Polaroid was the big deal, shake it like a Polaroid. But Kodak and Polaroid refused to recognize digital was coming. And so obviously Polaroid goes out of business pretty fast, even though we want pictures instantly. Now I can take a picture down to, the photo development place and get it done in less than an hour. And they're better. They're in whatever format I want. But then digital comes along, and now I can store all my photos, and I can print them as I see fit, or not print them, but I can still enjoy them even if I don't print them. And so I think sometimes I saw something the other day. Samsung, the electronics maker, started off as a grocery store. Lamborghini started off as a tractor shop. IKEA started off selling just pens and wallets and picture frames, before becoming a multi-billion-dollar industry. And I think that sometimes people don't realize that the market will speak to you. And if you're not listening, you're dead in the water. I myself am old school. I like being in person with people. The reason this show is live, and we're not doing it right now, we're about to go into a 1-month hiatus as we're moving into new headquarters, building out these gorgeous studios for our production. And then when you come down to Carlsbad, we can have this conversation in person, which I think is way more powerful. But I'm old school in that I think no matter what you do, no matter how much we advance technologically, there's one thing that we as human beings are overwhelmingly drawn to do. And I think it's from God. I think it's because God knew if he didn't plant this seed in the human condition that eventually there'd be no humans. I believe we want to connect flesh to flesh. I believe we want to shake each other's hands. We want to look into each other's eyes. At least in my case, I want to give somebody a hug. And I think that piece is going to be the ultimate piece. That can't be replicated. I mean, we can have a robot and you can hug me and it could feel like flesh, but it's not the same. And I think that's the one thing that keeps me in live education, live entertainment. And again, with the upgrades happening digitally, that's the mix. So the fact that you have the authors and the content creators and you tell them to provide us content, you got to update this. What you write today won't be relevant in a year, and certainly won't be completely accurate no matter how good you are. So I think that's great that it's ever changing. So where is Stukent going from here? What's the intention? Obviously, you're talking about McGraw-Hill and the other, big publishers, Simon and Schuster.
Yeah, good question. So Stukent is on a massive trajectory to scale. We have, like I said, we celebrated passing our first 1 million students supported, and that happened about the same time as we celebrated our 10-year anniversary. And in doing so, we hired a new CEO. So about 2.5 years ago, I took on a private equity investment growth capital partners called Tritium Partners. And Tritium, they're the guys that invested in VRBO and HomeAway back when it was worth about $10 million. And they sold it to Expedia for $4 billion. They did that under a different brand name of Austin Ventures, but they've had a lot of success. So they acquired the majority share of my business, Stukent. I became a minority owner. And after 2.5 years of me running it as the CEO, we decided to get a new CEO. And that new CEO comes from 2 other very successful education technology businesses. He knows what it's like to scale from the level we were at to the next level. And so I'm cheering him on and watching him do it. And the team is continuing to grow and succeed. They're going to continue to innovate and evolve the entire higher education space. I think higher education is going to be disrupted more. People say that it's going to die. I think that college sports by themselves will keep higher education alive and save it probably because people love that tradition and people love the tradition of the coming of age experience of sending their kid off to college. That's a thing that matters to people. They put value on it, even if they don't put as much value on the 4-year degree as they once did. And so what Stukent's trying to do is be their savior that says, hey, you guys have done a really poor job of staying current. The slogan of Stukent is stay current. We're going to help them do that across all subjects and continue to evolve into supporting more subjects in a way that the large publishers have not been able to innovate and do. So I'm excited to watch that grow, and I get to do it as a board member and kind of from the sidelines cheering on while I go and spend a little more time with my family than I did from 30 to 40. My 40 to 50s, I hope to spend a lot more time with my kids and wife, and cheer on other entrepreneurs and do that in part with Startups with Stu, and getting to connect with great folks like you, Marshall, who are doing that and making millionaires. I love that, by the way. I'll never get over reading Marshall Silver, Millionaire Maker, and go, that's my kind of guy. Like, we need people that help people believe in themselves, that they can go and do it, because it is possible. And sometimes you need someone to just tell you, you can do it, dude. I never thought in a million years that I would have the kind of success I've had by age 40. But I had some people that said, I actually had a first mentor that told my father-in-law, not me directly, said, Richie, that son-in-law of yours is probably going to be a millionaire before he's 30. My father-in-law told me that. And when he said that, it hit like something different than I've ever experienced, it where I had a new belief in myself and what was possible. And it was so liberating, Marshall. So to go and do that for your listeners, I hope I can be the one today to say, you can do it, and get to tell your listeners the same thing. I hope you go and make your dreams come true. It's not easy, going to be a hard road, but you can be a millionaire.
Is Stukent a platform or is it a curriculum?
It's a platform for multiple curriculums. So we've now signed on like over 40 different authors on a variety of subjects. These authors don't come from small schools either. We're talking Columbia, Northeastern. We've had Babson College and Boston College, and teamed up with Point Loma University and Oklahoma State University, and they've created all sorts of different curriculum for us. They use our platform to publish and invite the professors and students to come in and use the curriculum that's within it, if that makes sense.
I love it. And what do you have an affiliate program built into it for the professors to refer you?
The professors don't get any compensation, and that comes mostly from the tradition of higher education that professors shouldn't be making money off of their students.
And I don't think they should make money off the students, but they should make money off the referral to another professor. Yeah.
It was surprisingly, among academics, we tried this program to see if we could get the friends and family thing to take off for us. And it didn't ever turn out to be something that worked very well for us. So maybe it's time to
do you have an Academy of Awards program for your content providers?
We do have that, but it's small. What we do is Professor of the Year. It happens at our annual user conference called ProfCon. But that's a small thing. I think we should be doing more of that, Marshall. That's a good question.
Well, without a doubt, because you got to stop and consider the source. Professors, egomaniacal. I mean, that is the only reason you become a professor. Certainly not for the money, which they're not motivated by, apparently. But it certainly is ego to, be a professor and be a teacher and be a leader in that area. So at any rate, I want to ask you, you said that your podcast was going to be different. Obviously, yes, I'm aware of what PodUp is. I really want to see what the new software does, and very excited about that. And I know it's going to be huge, knowing that you're, part of the team that's making it happen. How will your podcast be different than other podcasts?
The Startups with Stu podcast is set up to be more like the Dave Ramsey experience, where people call in that are having financial problems. They share their dilemma and questions with him, and then he gives them answers and feedback. So it's a challenge because no entrepreneur wants to look like they don't have everything figured out yet. But I'm getting entrepreneurs that are budding entrepreneurs. They're still learning and growing and figuring things out. They're coming in asking me questions, and I'm sharing stories and from the trenches of what it was like for me, and giving them feedback and advice. Should I bootstrap? Should I raise investor capital money? How much equity should I give up? When should I consider selling? Right? Those are different things that for me, I think, I wish I would have been able to hear. And so one thing I've learned as an entrepreneur is if I just go and do things that I wish I had been able to experience, usually I'm able to find an audience of people that are in the same boat. And I've listened to some great podcasts that have helped me. Masters of Scale with Reid Hoffman. Guy Raz has another great podcast. Do you remember the name of Guy Raz's podcast? His is all about the story of startups as well.
I don't.
Sorry, not coming to me, but anyways.
Yeah, it'll come to you.
Guy Raz, it's Guy, first name, last name is Raz. He's got a fantastic podcast. And in those podcasts, it's similar to what you're doing with me, Marshall. It's about the entrepreneur's story. You're asking questions, and then we have great conversation from there. What I'm trying to do is get people that have questions to come to me, and I give feedback to their questions. And hopefully people go, oh, I had that same question too. Or, oh, I didn't even think to have that question. I should have. And I'm able to give feedback in that regard. So that's what's going to hopefully make it unique.
You know, one of the things that I believe is that this thing that we call the internet, in this methodology of delivering things digitally, communication equals wealth. And that's why we've been able to see people have breakouts like the Gary V's or the Alex Hermosi, or, you know, people that have made their presence and their brand huge online. That's what I love about this. My show right now is normally a 2-hour show. Right now, we're only doing an hour. And somebody just asked that, actually, which is why I was getting back to it. He said, I hope the platform goes back to interviewing viewers, guests, call-ins, and the opportunity for other amazing gifts. I get it. And I think that traditional television, as we know it, has basically kind of gone away. The only thing I ever watch in real time is Padres baseball. I don't watch anything else in real time. You know, so a sporting event I might watch in real time because there's a reason to watch it in real time. Regular content, podcasts, for the most part, there's no reason to watch them in real time, which means they usually don't get watched, which is why this is live. Normally, we give away thousands of dollars in cash and prizes. We're, like I said, getting ready to move into our brand new studio. So we've pulled the reins back. Once we're in the new studio, we'll get back to giving away cash every single day. But I think that part of the challenge is that we've become a passive society, meaning the knowledge is there at our fingertips, so we don't actually have to pull it up and observe it. And I think that's the bigger challenge now, is how do we get people to actively become involved with all the knowledge that's there for the taking for all of us? I've got one of my students and partners teaches real estate investing, and he's doing a 30-minute a day, 6-day a week, 60-day training program. And the results that he's getting and the engagement that he's getting, because it's only 30 minutes, has been remarkable, has been really good and really strong. And I think that is where we're going, is that people, the attention span's getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And so, you know, you've got to be able to give them something. But I also think, just like the guest is asking, Anthony Hernandez is asking, you know, when you're coming back to taking the calls in, that's the other piece I think that is a part of the human condition. We want to feel involved in Stukent and everything that you're doing. How important is a leaderboard or some kind of a competition amongst the students? Or, you know, do you have gamification built into the system? And if you do, how important do you think that is?
Yeah, that is a great question. So we have gamification as an optional add-on for a professor. They can choose to anonymize but show where you stack up amongst all the other students. For privacy reasons, some professors are really concerned about, I don't want them to know that Johnny stinks at this, you know, but others don't anonymize it. They purposely share all of the students. And
I think Johnny needs to know he stinks at that. That's what I think.
Well, Johnny can know he stinks without seeing who's ahead of him or below him, but that's an optional turn on, toggle off feature. So what we found is that the professors that use that feature love it, the students love it, and they are way, way more engaged, Marshall. If all of a sudden my peers are going to know that I'm not doing this well or that I stink at this, I don't want to look bad and I'm going to go to work, right?
And I
So
don't even think it's as much that as it is the validation. Oh my God, I didn't realize people could do that well. I thought I was doing really well. And I think,
yeah,
that's the other side of the coin is if we don't compete with each other, we don't know what's possible. And so that's
right.
why I like gamification. I like to press. I've intentionally taught my children how to lose because I've said, look, the growth comes in losing. It doesn't come in winning. Yeah, winning's fun and it's the outcome and that's what we want. But growth comes when you get tired of losing. That's when you're going to get better.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
So
I
I've
love
loved
that.
having you on the show. I love this topic. I just love learning, and especially my kids are 13, 11, and 9, and I love anything that allows them to get excited about learning. They're all
Mhm.
musicians. I love Mormon families. I love the family values that the Mormon religion has, and a lot of my Mormon friends they're all performance inclined, usually musically inclined, and I've
Mhm.
always admired that greatly. I'm not musically inclined. I've been on stage since I was 7 years old, but in a very different way. I was a magician as a kid, and I'm a hypnotist from Vegas, and I speak on stage. My children are all musicians, and I love it. I go, I listen to them pick up a new instrument, start playing it, and I just have wonder. I go, how do you do that? That is so remarkable. But they've been programmed to know they can do anything. And so there's nothing that they realize you just got to get through the first difficult part where it's not fun. And then all of a sudden you start to master it and have some victories. Then it gets fun. But then it's
Yeah.
a competition. And the moment it's a competition, everything gets better. So before we
Marshall,
wrap up,
I love that. Let me just add one thought here. You mentioned they've been programmed. Entrepreneurs listening today, you get to program. You get to sign up for programs that can program you and help you. Marshall Silver is that kind of a master that can help you program yourself right to think right about what's possible for yourself. So go get programmed. I love that. It's awesome.
we have a lot of speakers and trainers and people with phenomenal content. May not be scholastic type of content. Yet I really
Mhm.
believe in your platform, and I love what you're doing, and I think it is the way that learning is going. How do
Yes.
people get a hold of you to find out more about your products? Obviously, you gave out a couple of your websites. How do they get a hold of you directly?
Yeah, I am most active on LinkedIn. I'd love for you to connect with me and reach out on LinkedIn. I'm Stuart Draper, StuartDraper. You'll find me there, and I am actively paying attention to the messages. Sometimes it takes me a while to get back to them all, but I'm always there and active. So that's the easiest way to connect with me. As far as buying my products, I hope you'll tune in to Startups with Stu. If you're interested in becoming a podcaster, I hope you'll check out podup.com.
Awesome, man. Hey, I've got an event that we do about every other month. This next one's coming up in Las Vegas in July. And then we're hoping the next one will be in our brand new headquarters down here in Carlsbad. It's called Turning Point. Tickets sell for $3,000 a piece. But I'd like you and whatever guests you want to bring with you, if you want to come down and visit, I'd love to meet you in person. I'd love to continue this conversation because I really like educating people. And I think that we're in a revolution of education right now. And I'm just
Mhm.
fascinated by your product. And I know it will continue being phenomenal. And heck, won't be Armor All will end up being the new Nike. So
There
congratulations
you
on all your
go.
success. Thanks for being on the show. I'm going to play a quick video for everybody else to see what Turning Point is, but I look forward to meeting you in person sometime in the near future.
Hey, let's do it. Thanks, Marshall.
All right,
Appreciate
brother.
you having me on the show.
God bless you. Take care, man. Life is good. Hey, if you want to come join me at Turning Point, I'm very excited. Next month, July, we've got a lot going on. We have Inner Circle happening at Prosperity Palace in Las Vegas. We've got Turning Point happening right after that in Las Vegas. I have a very special course that is called Crush It from the Stage, and it's to teach speakers and trainers and coaches how to sell from the platform. It's not how to speak, not how to train, doesn't teach you your curriculum. It teaches you how to specifically get the freaking money. And normally that's taught in Vegas. It was about to be, I got a booking where I will be speaking in front of a large group during that training. And it's the best possible way to teach it. So you'll be able to learn from me. Then we'll go over into the other room at the same hotel. You'll watch me get on stage in front of a group of strangers. You'll watch me crush it, likely earn strong 6 figures in 90 minutes. Then we'll come back and dissect it. So if you're a speaker, if you're a trainer, if you're a coach, that event's going to be going on in LA. It was just moved from Vegas to LA. I apologize for any inconvenience. There's a big reason for it. And if not there, we'll certainly figure out a way to get you at the very least, a Zoom feed so that you can enjoy it from where you are if you're not able to get it to LA. And then the last event going on is our Prosperity Alliance event, 2 full days of training. It is the new best event that we've reworked to make it happen. If you're a part of Inner Circle, you're welcome to come join us for that. If you're a part of the Prosperity Alliance, well, then by all means, you have a ticket for that as well. And that's going to be taught in Carlsbad. It's going to be taught down here in Carlsbad. So we'd love to have you there. That's coming up at the end of July. To give an idea of what Turning Point looks like and to let 3 of you pick up a pair of tickets totally free on me as guests of the show, take a look at the video. This is Turning Point.
Turning Point. A total change in direction for the better.
Who here is ready for a turning point? You absolutely have to have one. Put them high.
The 2-day Turning Point seminar is different than any other program in that it does more than just teach you the skills for your relationships, wealth, and power. It also programs you on a subconscious level to put those skills into immediate use.
This weekend is about empowerment. This weekend is about you understanding how to take charge of your own life.
You will learn total control of your thoughts and emotions. How to use PND, or psychoneural duplication, to take on the thoughts and actions of others to produce similar results. Whether it's losing weight, changing habits, being a millionaire.
When you think what a millionaire thinks and you do what a millionaire does, you'll produce similar results.
You will learn to program these powerful tools at a subconscious level for immediate and lasting results.
Your conscious mind is what's called your critical factor. It's the mind you're using right now to determine whether the information I'm giving to you will work for you or not. Your subconscious mind, on the other hand, is merely a computer. It's non-critical. It doesn't even have the ability to make judgment. So all trance, hypnosis, reprogramming is setting aside the critical factor of your conscious mind and non-critically accepting suggestions.
And empowering.
To make a fear vanish, you must experience it fully.
As it helps you create your life exactly the way you want it. Bring your family closer. Find the love of your life. Create strategies for wealth. Learn irresistible influence and so much more. Because of the intimate nature of this course, seats are very limited. Register now before your life passes you by and there are no more turning points for you. Tens of thousands of people have learned this information and are using it daily.
You don't get angry if you get fired from your job and you know that within 2 years you will be a multi-millionaire.
It's your time.
There's a way for you to win this game that is different than how you're doing it, and it works.
It's your life.
When you learn how to do that, you become more powerful, and power is for use.
It's your turning point.
Hey, I know you want to go. I know you're saying to yourself, that looks like a whole lot of fun, and I bet you I could get more sex, more money, and more power if I just go hang out with Marshall Silver for 2.5 days in Las Vegas next month. All the above is true. If you want those tickets, I've got 3 pairs of tickets. First 3 people who call 1-800-92-POWER, 1-800-92-POWER right now. Let Anthony, my assistant, know that you saw the show, you want the tickets, you look forward to seeing me next month, and I'll see you at Turning Point. I'm Marshall Silver. You're totally loved. Tomorrow, very special guest, the #1 trainer, teacher, builder of garage door businesses nationwide, and a billionaire in process. Tommy Mello is going to be with us tomorrow, so you want to tune in for that show. Until we chat, have an awesome night, and I'll see you mañana. Bye for now. Hey there, moguls. It's me, Marshall Silver, your personal millionaire maker. Getting very excited about my brand new show coming up 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm going to broadcast live to you. I'm going to give you content, information, emotional, mental, physical, and even spiritual power. I'll also invite some of my cool multi-millionaire and billionaire friends onto the show to give you more direction, more advice for having it all. All the knowledge to get everything you want and so much more. All you got to do is log in to the show to get information coming to you live from the bunker right here at Studio Money. So stay tuned.